How's everybody doing? We are going to do a couple quick things today. It's going to be a quick one, I think, but we'll find out. Sometimes I like to talk a little bit. Couple of main points I want everybody to do. First of all, if you're out there in Facebook land, or if you're here on the Zoom and you want to go over to the Facebook group, drop some hashtag lives. And if you see this in the future, drop some hashtag replays. Why do we do this? Again, algorithm, so that the people who say they want to see our shit can actually go ahead and see it. The other thing that I want you guys to do today, we're going to be working out some math. Okay. So we're going to be doing some stuff. It's going to be the math behind making $1 million with a SaaS product. All right. So why are we talking, first of all, so damn much about SaaS products in the last little bit? Well, the main reason is because next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, in a private pop-up group, we're going to be doing a 3-day event focused all around high level and how people are using it to create their low ticket base camp offer, to create, I'm not going to let your robots record this shit, guys. You can stop asking me that. And create the 3-day event. So we're going to be over here, guys, and we got a couple of really cool special guests. If you know anything about high level, we've actually got the man himself, Sean Clark, coming in to do a special training. And we've got Rob and Alex also coming in to do a special training, maybe even some other people dropping by to do stuff. And all you got to do, come on to see how we can actually create a $100,000 offer, how we can actually launch and scale it, and learn how to actually sell that shit on autopilot. This is going to be some really good shit. It is going to be awesome. And if you guys are here in the VIP and somehow you don't have this yet, make sure you not only sign up, but you're in the private group. We're going to be actually opening that today. And if you're out there in Facebook land, drop something down below. You can see the actual URL. I've got it in the actual description. joingsd.com/GHL. All right. We're going to teach you guys how to do some stuff. So for now, today, okay, I want to jump into this and I want to kind of go through how you do this kind of stuff, right? So what are we talking about here? So next week, we're going to be talking specifically, right, about $100,000 SaaS business. Now, some of you guys might already have $100,000 plus business and be bigger than this already. So you might be thinking, who cares? But I want to tell you guys about how you can use it today to actually create a side business, a revenue source that goes on, right? It's creating a revenue source and a downsell that fulfills itself because it's on the backbone, on the back of someone else's product. You're not developing this shit. You don't have to go through all the software issues, all the support issues. You can outsource that. Literally, you just have to put together a snapshot and maybe add something else to it and go ahead and roll that out. So if we start first, what's the math behind first? We'll say $100,000 because that's what the challenge is going to be about next week. 100K, right? 100K and 100K months selling a SaaS product. But first of all, guys, who here inside the chat, inside of Zoom, and also out there in Facebook land would be elated to be able to make $100,000 off of someone else's product? Something you barely have to touch, you don't have to do much with, 100K using that. Who here, drop a 1 in the chat, or if you're out there in Facebook land, drop a 1 down below in the comments so that I can check this out. This is also my way of making sure anybody's awake. So far, we have 1. So I'm assuming the other 25 people inside of here are fast asleep and I'm not going to say another word. That's fine too. We can do that all day. All right, there we go. Ones. And feel free to drop a 2 if you don't give a shit. If you're like, I don't need the 100K from that. I got enough money elsewhere. I don't really need it from that one. All right. Okay, we got ones. Okay. And who here thinks it's a hard thing to do? Who here is sitting there like bashing their head against the wall? Like, I just don't have a clear path. Drop a 3 in the chat or in the comments below this video. If you're thinking, I'd love to do it, but like, it just always seems so difficult. I really can't see the path forward. Couple 3s. Okay. So that's what I want to clarify today, because next week, the challenge is going to be how to actually go out and fucking do it. Like, what are we going to build? What are we going to go do? What are we going to do this? Today is about changing your brains from being like, how the hell could I even do that, to understanding a clear roadmap. All right. So one thing we do, and I'm going to give you guys a little behind the scenes secret sauce here for a second. Okay. So one thing we do for all of our GSD students when they come into the inner circle, we actually give them something that I created called the success tracker. So I'll show this to you just real quick. The student success tracker. Okay, so it looks like, oops, nope, not like that. Hold on, go back. Looks like this. Okay, what they do is we go through a little system called, finding your solvable problem, so they have an actual number, and then they tells you, okay, so if that's your goal and you have one client, right, then that means you need about 14 clients. It spits out a number. It says, cool, based on your goal and based on what you make, this is how many clients you need. This is how much shit you got to do to make it work. And then they take these numbers, they go over here, and it auto calculates a bunch of stuff based on what they actually accomplish. And it tells them green or red, right? So if I did enough outreach this week, or I generated enough leads, I don't know how much this is trying to tell me to do. Hold on, 500. Okay, so if I generate enough leads and I start enough conversations this week, cool. If I book enough calls this week, good job, right? And if I don't do enough outreach and I don't book enough calls, right, and I don't close enough deals, et cetera, then I know. So here I know I've closed enough deals based on the amount of calls I actually took, but I didn't take nearly enough calls. And that started right from the top. But if I go here and I say, cool, this is green and this is green, but up here is not, then I'm not booking nearly enough calls or doing nearly enough outreach, right? And what the point of this is before I even get into the math, because I'm going to show you the math behind it. But the point of having something like this, right, why we give this to each and every student for their first few weeks in the program is because if you don't know the bottleneck that you're running into, then you can never move forward. And so what most people do is they fly blind and they're like, I know I need more sales and more outreach and more. And so they're just constantly chasing that shitty word, more. Like, I just need more. And then they get burned out and overwhelmed and then they stop. And it's really a lot like the person who goes to the gym, right? Who you wake up after Christmas, you're like, oh man, I ate way too much fucking turkey. I feel overweight, I feel bloated, I feel like shit. So what do I got to do? I got to go work out. Make a New Year's resolution for the 5th time in the 5th year in a row. I'm going to go and I'm going to work out and I'm going to eat less, right? And they do it for a few weeks and they don't really know what's going on. They're not tracking it. They do it like shit. They get sick and they never work out again. And that's what most people do when they intake information like what I'm going to give you right now. Like, that sounds easy. And then I tell you, it's not fucking easy. You got to track it and you got to make sure that it's working. You got to make progress, right? They're like, ah, sounds good. And they go and they do it. And then inevitably they realize it's not easy and it's not a quick win. And they're like, it didn't give me $1 million right away and I'm going to stop doing it. But when you have a North Star, right, like a solvable problem or a math equation that I'm going to give you guys in a second, and you actually track your progress towards it, meaning I'm going to show you simple math that says, if you do these things, it'll be easy to get to here. But you need something that tracks it that says, cool, when you don't get here right away, which one of those things broke? Which skill do I have to improve on? Is it the amount of outreach I'm doing? That's a thing I can do right away. Is it booking more people from the outreach and the leads that I'm doing? Because that's a skill I can get coached on or find something online. Is it closing those deals? Because I'll need sales skills, right? Is this resonating, guys? Drop me a 1 again in the chat or in the comments below this video if it's making sense, and drop me a 3 if you think I've completely lost my fucking mind. Ones, and 20-ish people that are asleep. I'm going to wait for at least 2 more responses in the chat because this is just getting kind of sad. There we go. 1 more. All right, good. Cool. Good, guys. All right, so let's do some math. All right. So the math behind 100K. So what are we going to be selling our SaaS product for? Right. So we have a few options, right? The SaaS products are usually going to be selling, we'll say going to be like $297 a month, maybe $500 a month. And then if you start adding like database reactivation and stuff to it, you could do like 5K one-offs or 2 to 5K one-off additions. Okay. So let's meet in the middle and say you're doing, let's start worst case scenario. Okay. Let's go with 297. So let's just make it a little easier on ourselves and call it 300. Okay. So if we want to make $100,000 in a year, right, then we have to do 100,000 divided by 300, right? So if we had 300 clients, it would do it in a month. So we had 333 clients, keeping them. If we kept 333 clients, that would actually equal $100,000 per month, right? So we could say that first. Now, if we say it per year, and we just divide that by 12, we say, okay, well, what if we want to do per year? So we'll round it up. We'll say 28 clients per month for a year. It's going to equal 100K. Okay, so realistically, then if all you need is 28 clients, right, to be kept through the month, let's say we want to get that in, let's say we want to hit $100,000 a year run rate in 3 months. So what's your timeline? What's your acceptable timeline? Right, we're going to say 3 months. I want to hit $100,000 a year run rate, and I want to do it in 3 months. Cool. So you got to get 28 clients. You got to divide that by 3. Again, we'll just round up and we'll call it 10. Round up to 10. So we want 10 clients per month. Okay. Now we're going to use benchmarks. Now you plug in your own numbers for here, but the benchmarks for everything should be outreach to call ratio should be 10%. Show rate should be 60%. Connected call close rate should be, we'll say 25%. I would say 30, but if you guys aren't salespeople, let's just say 25%. All right. So what does that mean? Well, if we need what do we say? 10 clients. So 10 clients, 10 new clients is going to equal then 40, right? Connected calls, which if we say for 60 is going to be 67 booked calls, which is 670 outreach. And this is per month, right? This is all per month. So if we want to say per week, right? Then it gets a lot easier than that, doesn't it? So now we just divide everything by week. So let's say, okay, per week is going to equal 2.5 clients, 10 connected calls, whatever 67 divided by 4 is. So it's 16.75. 16 calls booked. Right. And then whatever the 670 divided by 4 is going to be, I think 167. Yeah, 167 outreach. So if you do that by 5, literally 167 divided by 5, that's just 33 new conversations or leads per business day. Seems pretty easy, doesn't it? Anybody think that this is overly difficult to now create a $100,000 business in 3 months by having a miniature department? Drop a 1 in the chat if that seems like it's a roadmap you could accomplish if you know your numbers and you're actually pushing that forward. Drop a 3 in the chat if it seems completely impossible. Ones. Cool. So knowing this, seeing the math here, right? What do you think has stopped you guys from doing this before? You want to drop it in the chat or feel free to unmute. And if anybody out there in Facebook land is wondering, how do these very important looking people actually get on the call, drop a hashtag VIP in the comments. We're happy to get you on there. Go ahead, Jen.
I think it's remembering what the numbers are and being consistent. It's just developing that habit, I think.
Okay. Yeah, the habit for sure. And I think go ahead. Sorry, did I hear somebody on mute?
Oh no, sorry, I coughed. I was gonna say something, but then that was a cough.
Did you want to say that?
Well, I was just gonna respond by saying I just don't really know what SAAS is, and I don't know if it applies for the kind of business that I'm already working on. So I've seen people talking about it, and I know it's there's videos in the program about it, but I haven't really gotten to that. My coaching that integrates with it all it does, but I'm curious, so I'm here.
Yeah, so SaaS just stands for software as a service, right? And when we're talking about this, and the next week is going to be the challenge that really dives deep into that, but it's building it on the backbone of high level. So in this sense, it's taking high level and adding on stuff like landing pages, automations using text messages and emails, and all this kind of stuff that you can build directly on their system and then replicate for your clients. So it's a software that you kind of put your own spice onto, and then you can resell as packaging to other clients. And when I show numbers like 297, 500, it's like a snapshot that they just plug their own stuff in and make work. It's that plus maybe a little bit of learning that you could add on to it if you want to do some coaching. And then this is a little bit of a done for you service where you help them actually go in and reactivate stuff. And we're going to dive really deep into that on day 1 next week on the challenge. And then for Jen, right? Can you repeat what you said again? I'm sorry, I lost track.
No, that's okay. So I think the biggest challenge for me has been just kind of being overwhelmed at like this little roadmap and okay, how do I fill this out? And just keeping the numbers in mind and the discipline to do that. So it's just developing that new habit to do it on the regular and then tracking it.
Yeah, and so what I want to say everybody here too, because I see like Fred saying actually making those calls, right? Lack of time. I mean, I don't believe in lack of time personally, but I understand where you guys are coming from. Like what I like having this for and why the GST students get that success tracker and I harp on it so much is because this allows you to have those North Stars. Right. And so it becomes easier to kind of push stuff to the wayside and say, I don't want to make those calls or I don't want to do that outreach when it's all just this vague, like, if I do more of it, I'll make more money kind of thing. And like, even though that sounds good, it's not a real tangible thing you can chase. But when you put it together like this, right, when you actually set it up like this, then it can become a North Star, like a magnet, right? That's pulling you towards it because you know every little bit of effort you're putting in is pulling that specific lever, right? It's pushing you towards that outcome. And so that's what I really want to see you guys really kind of dive into. So now let's take this. All right. Hopefully this is helpful for everybody. We're going to take this now and we're going to do something even more interesting. It's like, all right, well, that's $100,000 for a year. What if I wanted to make, you know, like we said earlier, $100,000 a month? $100,000 per month, right? And I want to give myself a little more time to do it. Like, okay, cool. I'm starting at 0. If I make $100,000 a month run rate by the end of this year, it'll be $1 million business. Does that sound fair to everybody? If you give yourself 12 months right now, would you be happy with having something like this? That's, you know, it takes 12 months to actually get there. You'll make money along the way, but after that, you got $100,000 a month business. Does that sound fair, guys? Drop a 1 in the chat or 1 out in the comments if that kind of seems like something that you'd like to have. Cool. Good. Now, there's something in investing, principles in investing, and also principles in building a business that basically states that, you know, the longer time frame you give yourself, the easier math becomes, right? The easier your outcomes become. So the problem a lot of people run into is, you know, I don't know where they get this from. Well, I mean, where do they get it from? They get it from, you know, assholes like all of us who talk on the internet about our highlights and everything that's amazing, right? And we get that. And they think that it has to be an overnight success. Like our whole culture is based around instant gratification, learned helplessness, and instant gratification. Whereas if we just give ourselves a longer time preference, a longer timeline to actually accomplish these goals, you'll be amazed kind of how much easier it can be and how much smaller of a minute kind of movement in the levers we need to get it to kind of work. Okay. And so because you guys all said right now, like, of course I would give 12 months to be able to build $100,000 business. I want you to hold on to that thought because a lot of you guys we've talked to outside of this, you know, when you really get into it, you're like, well, I got to make this much money now. Right. It's not how it fucking works. And so it's good so that you got this longer time preference in your head now to make that kind of happen. So want to make 100K a month. Cool. Let's stick with the lowest possible amount. Again, so let's say 300, right? Now we talked about this earlier. What we need is 333. So price point is going to be 333 total recurring clients. Is that correct? Let me just make sure that's correct. 333 times 300 is, yeah, $99,900 per month, right? Is now going to equal 100K per month in recurring revenue. Cool. So again, if we keep the same things that we had over here, which are standard things, right? And you want to put your own numbers in as you go and you see it, but let's keep this over here. And we say, cool, well, this is what we've got for our baselines. So then again, we're going to say now we have a 12-month time preference. Okay. Well, that means all we have to do is get whatever 333 is divided by 12, 27. Interesting. What did I say? What was it? It's exactly the same. What did I say? per week, 10 clients. No, okay. So we actually need 27 clients. 27, actually 28 clients. 28 clients needed per month. Per month needed to be able to hit the 100K. So we're like, all right, we're getting a little more interesting now. So that means we need 28 clients is going to equate to, what did I say, 280 connected calls, right? Is going to equate to six. Oh wait, not 280, Jesus, sorry. 28 times 4, 112 connected calls. That makes more sense. And that is going to equate to 186 booked calls, which equates to 1,860 outreach. And this is per month. So then if we come down to per week, right, is going to actually equate to 7 clients, 28 connected calls, 46 booked calls, and 1,860 divided by 4, 465 outreach. Which is totally doable. 100% doable, right? Now, this is going to be a busy week, no doubt. And it's not going to be quite as laissez-faire as this one is, right? But you want to make $100,000 a month. And sometimes when you want to make a little bit more money, you got to put in a tiny bit more effort. So now let's just repeat what we talked about earlier. Who here, seeing this, thinks this is accomplishable? Now that you see the math laid out in front of you, drop a 1 in the chat. Or if you think it's absolutely absurd and you couldn't do it, drop a 3. All right, we got 3 people awake. Wake up, people. Want to come in here making money. Good. Right?
Sorry, I'm driving. I can't.
I believe you, Leia. You're fine. This is good. Right? And now all you do is you take this, you create a tracking system. Those of you inside the GSD, you know, are lucky enough that you already got one because I gave it to you. But you create something like this and you just pay attention. You don't even have to make it fancy, color coded or calculator or any of that shit. You can just take the numbers you know you need to be doing every week based on the calculations I just gave you, the math we just did. Put it over here and call it your North Star and just write your shit down every week. And when you don't hit it for a couple of weeks in a row, go and fix it. Find the people that can help you pull that lever. Find the people who are going to teach you how to do better outreach or trainings on how to create that and do that better on your ads or on your organic marketing or everything else. No, sorry, Julia, no, VIP people don't get it. It's the inner circle people that get access to this stuff. Go, and if you can't book calls, right, go learn the perfect stranger method. You can't connect to them, go figure out what people are doing in their SAASes for their appointment reminder sequences, right? Can't close, find a sales trainer. Talk to Rahul for a little while. Figure out what it is you're doing wrong, why it is you can't close any deals, right? But create something that allows you to constantly be using this as your North Star, to be creating a magnet for yourself that allows you to be constantly being pulled forward. Because every now and then you're going to get sad. You're going to be like, oh, this shit is not fucking working. What am I doing? And if you have this laid out correctly, you'll already know. You'll be like, oh, I see. I need to have this and I don't. Or I was supposed to do this much outreach, but I only did 200. Nobody's answering me and I'm not connecting. You'll understand where the real bottleneck is and you won't be flying blind anymore. So hopefully that was good, guys. Again, all of this was to say, do you think adding a SaaS product and knowing this math would be valuable to your business? Drop a 1 in the chat or a 1 out there on the comments out there in Facebook land. Got 1, 2 1s. Let's see over in Facebook. I'm going to hit the refresh button, see who's on here. 1s, 1s, 1s. Good. So if you do believe that, right, I'm going to drop again the link for the challenge next week. And there's 2 things I want, 3 things really. I want you to dropping it in the comments down below on Facebook. I'm dropping it here in the Zoom chat. All right. Couple of things. Register, yes, but also if you have not joined the private pop-up group yet, do it. Okay, because that's where we're going to be getting this shit done. So you should be registered, and then as soon as you're registered, you should be over in this group. If you've never seen this before, check your emails, check your shit, or send me a DM once you're registered, and we'll get you all set up. We're opening the doors today for it so that we can get this rocking and rolling. Again, it's a 3-day thing. It's taking the math I just showed you and putting it into action to how to actually make that fucking stuff happen. And I'm sorry I'm swearing so much, but I think it's going to be a good one. We also have the founders, Sean Clark and Mr. Rob and Alex, coming in to do special training with us. So I think that's going to be pretty cool for days 2 and 3. So if you have not registered yet, guys, you thought all of you just dropped those 1s in here and you're like, I think I can make that money with a SaaS product. I just need to know a little bit more about what the hell that actually is. Click on the button, sign up, get registered, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Everybody else, we're done for this week on this week's $1 Million Agency show. I'm going to hop over into the VIP room, the VIP only session. If you guys don't know what that is, drop a hashtag VIP down below in the comments and we'll get you in here. If you did not know, myself and Rahul were recently granted the power to turn people into very important folks, right? Very important people, and they get to spend special time with us every single week. So if you want to be a part of that, drop a hashtag VIP down below the comments. Otherwise, I will see all of you